There is a certain look in the eyes of someone who has been through too much. It is not simply tiredness. It is not just age. It is the expression of someone whose mind has seen more life than most people ever will. If you sometimes feel older than your years or strangely disconnected from everyday drama, there may be a psychological reason for it. Because people who have walked through serious hardship often develop a perspective that separates them from ordinary concerns. And today, we are breaking down the psychology of people who have been through a lot and how adversity can quietly reshape a person from the inside out. If you enjoy psychology explained in a clear and meaningful way, make sure to like this video and subscribe so you do not miss the next breakdown. Now, let us start with something most people rarely hear. When psychologists discuss trauma, the conversation usually focuses on post-traumatic stress, but there is another side of the story that deserves attention. It is called post-traumatic growth. Post-traumatic growth refers to psychological development that can occur after surviving extreme adversity. It does not mean trauma is beneficial. It means that enduring it can reshape a person's perception, priorities, and emotional depth. People who have faced serious struggles often develop strengths that comfort alone can never produce. The first of those strengths is deep empathy. Most people understand pain in theory. They know suffering exists, but they have not lived inside it. When you have experienced hardship, you recognize the emotional texture of pain instantly. You hear it in someone's voice. You see it in the hesitation behind their smile. You notice it in the ways someone avoids eye contact while pretending everything is fine. This is why strangers often open up to you unexpectedly. Your presence communicates understanding without judgment. Psychological studies show that individuals who have experienced emotional adversity often develop stronger empathic awareness. They are more capable of identifying emotional signals and responding with compassion. You are not simply listening to people. You are feeling the weight of their experience with them. That depth of empathy becomes a quiet refuge for others. People feel safe around someone who understands suffering without minimizing it. But empathy is only one part of the transformation. Another strength developed through hardship is crisis. Psychologists use this term to describe individuals who function effectively during high-stress situations. When a sudden crisis appears, many people experience overwhelming panic. Their nervous system enters fight or flight, and their thinking becomes disorganized. But individuals who have faced serious adversity often react differently. They become calmer. Their thinking becomes clearer. This happens because their stress baseline has been recalibrated by experience. They have already endured situations that required immediate adaptation. So when chaos appears again, their nervous system does not interpret it as unfamiliar danger. It interprets it as something survivable. While others panic, they analyze. While others react emotionally, they plan. They are not indifferent. They are practiced. Hardship trains the mind to respond rather than collapse. This creates resilience that cannot be learned in comfortable environments. Another psychological shift involves perspective. People who have endured serious life challenges often lose interest in superficial competition. Petty conflicts feel insignificant. Status symbols lose their meaning. You begin to see how fragile time actually is. Psychological research shows that people who survive adversity frequently experience a reordering of priorities. They value authenticity over appearances. They value meaningful relationships over external approval. They value time more than status. You stop performing for validation. You begin living with intention. This leads to another powerful transformation: radical authenticity. There is very little patience for superficial behavior in someone who has suffered deeply. You understand how temporary life is, how quickly circumstances can change. That awareness dissolves the need for masks. You stop pretending to be someone else for acceptance. You stop investing energy in relationships that lack sincerity. Instead, you prioritize honesty. Even when honesty makes others uncomfortable. Psychology often describes this as identity consolidation after adversity. When people survive intense life experiences, their sense of self becomes clearer. They know what matters. They know what does not. This clarity can intimidate individuals who rely on social masks, but it also attracts people searching for authenticity. Another trait developed through hardship is emotional endurance. People who have suffered deeply develop a different relationship with pain. Pain no longer feels like something that must always be avoided. It becomes something that can be survived. This changes the way challenges are perceived. Where others see catastrophe, you see difficulty. Where others see endings, you see adaptation. Psychologists refer to this as cognitive resilience. It is the ability to interpret adversity as temporary rather than permanent. you know, that life can collapse and still continue. You have lived through it before. Another subtle shift occurs in the ability to tolerate emotional discomfort. Many people attempt to escape discomfort immediately. They distract themselves, they suppress emotions, they avoid reflection. But individuals who have endured intense experiences often develop greater tolerance for emotional complexity. They can sit with grief without fleeing from it. They can acknowledge anger without being consumed by it. They can process fear without losing their sense of direction. This emotional endurance becomes a powerful psychological strength because healing requires the ability to face what hurts instead of avoiding it. People who have endured adversity often develop this ability naturally through survival. There is also a deeper philosophical shift that occurs after hardship. You become aware of how fragile life really is. At first, this awareness can feel heavy, but over time, it creates appreciation. Small moments begin to feel meaningful. Quiet mornings feel significant. Simple conversations feel valuable. Moments of peace feel extraordinary. Psychologists call this existential awareness. It is the understanding that life is temporary and therefore precious. People who develop this awareness often begin living more intentionally. They stop chasing approval that does not matter. They invest energy in what truly matters. In many ways, adversity forces clarity. Comfort allows illusions to remain unchallenged. Hardship removes those illusions. You see people more clearly. You see yourself more honestly. And while that clarity can be painful, it also creates depth of character. There is a Japanese art form called when a ceramic bowl breaks, the pieces are repaired using lacquer mixed with gold. Instead of hiding the cracks are highlighted. The repaired bowl becomes more valuable because of its history. Psychologically, people who have survived hardship resemble that philosophy. The cracks in their story become part of their strength. They carry scars, but those scars represent survival. They represent endurance. They represent transformation. You are not fragile because you have been broken before. You are resilient because you have learned how to rebuild. And that ability cannot be bought, taught, or imitated. It can only be earned through experience. If you have been through difficult seasons of life, it does not mean you are damaged. It means you have expanded. Your empathy is deeper. Your perspective is wider. Your strength is quieter, but stronger than most people realize. You have seen darkness and still chosen to keep moving forward. And that choice reveals something powerful about who you are becoming. If this breakdown resonated with you, subscribe for more psychology that helps explain the deeper patterns shaping human behavior. Comment below if hardship changed the way you see the world, and watch the next video to continue exploring how adversity can reshape the human mind.